Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up in Our News Weekend, Queen's Counsel Damian Gomez calls for the Deputy Prime Minister to resign. We've got the story. The Anglican Bishop calls for more Bahamians to be responsible in the fight against COVID-19. Plus, the Elevation Awards to take center stage this week. Welcome to Our News, the Weekend Edition. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, Queen's Counsel Damian Gomez has called for Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest to resign. It comes days after a writ was filed by the firm of Queen's Counsel Michael Scott, in which Turnquest is accused of involvement in a scheme in which two companies were allegedly defrauded of over $20 million. In a statement claimed, the two companies alleged that Randy Butler, Sky Bahamas Airlines Limited, and Aviation Oversight Group Limited, together with Turnquest, conspired wrongfully and with intent to injure those companies and or to cause loss to them by unlawful means and or to enrich themselves. Turnquest has denied the accusation as false, noting that he was appalled over the matter. He also noted that he has not been named as a defendant in the case, although allegations were made against him. Captain Randy Butler has also denied those claims and said he will fully defend himself against them. In a statement released last evening, Gomez said the public expects the investigation into the matter to be transparent and fair to both the accused and accusers. However, in accordance with the conventions of the Westminster system of governance, Turnquest ought to resign from cabinet. We will continue to follow this story and update you as it progresses. In other news, Price Control Commission Chairman Danny Sumner says his team has received numerous reports during the pandemic of the high cost of grocery items. The complaints were not only for food goods, but daily household products as well. Sumner, however, said most of those items aren't on the breadbasket list, so they are not protected under the law. He's calling for the law to be amended so that more items can be included.
We need to amend the law in that effect, that across the board, we have a proper price control. Not just only on bread basket items, but on most things that people use for their daily lives. We need to reduce the price because the people are complaining.
Sumner said price inspectors go out daily to investigate complaints. He added that one item in particular on the breadbasket list that was found to be high in cost was a carton of eggs. But store owners, he said, had a reason for that increase.
Eggs is on the extended list, but here's the problem. We had a major problem with eggs about 4 months ago, where the price went up very high. We investigated and we discovered that the eggs price went up because of the farmers in the United States went up on their price. And consequently, when it got here in the Bahamas, the price was high. Bread is also an extended list, but bread, the market price of bread is only 10%.
Sumner has made a submission to the government to encourage more poultry farmers. He said as more food is produced in the Bahamas, there will be a reduction in the cost of living for Bahamians.
So if you're going to produce eggs, then you could produce chicken as well, because eggs come from chicken. So if we get a chicken farm, we will consequently have an egg farm. Okay? Those things will help tremendously to reduce the cost of living for Bahamian consumers. So we must go back to the agriculture. Okay? I would hope that BAMSI expand 10 times what it is now, so that we could facilitate our local produce with things that are grown in the Bahamas.
The Ministry of Health reported 18 new confirmed COVID-19 cases yesterday, pushing the total number of confirmed cases to 7,413. Of the new cases, 10 were reported on Grand Bahama, 7 on New Providence, and 1 on Andros. 1,544 cases are considered as active. To date, 41,734 tests have been completed. 5,652 people have recovered from the virus in the Bahamas. Well, a man is happy to be alive tonight after the plane he was flying crashed in the vicinity of Mayaguana yesterday afternoon. According to police, the incident occurred yesterday as the single-engine plane experienced mechanical issues while en route to Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera from Puerto Rico. The plane crash-landed into the mangroves half a mile off the coast of Mayaguana. He was rescued by a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter and airlifted to seek medical attention. Thankfully, the pilot walked away with no injuries. Well, Tourism and Aviation Minister Dionysio Aguilar says the only way Family Island airports will see redevelopment is with public-private partnerships. Without those, he says the process could take years. Berthany McDermott reports.
Aviation Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says government should enter public-private partnerships to develop Family Island airports. This after a report commissioned by former Aviation Minister Glenys Hannah Martin revealed that the 28 Family Island airports are in need of hundreds of millions of dollars in upgrades. It's an expensive venture, de Aguilar says the government cannot afford to undertake.
A public-private partnership is that the government will put up some money and the private sector will put up some money. But the users of the airport will have to pay to use that airport. So none of the Family Island airports, none of the users of any of the Family Island airports pay $1 to use those airports.
De Aguilar insisted this is the reason those airports are starved of funds and added a funding mechanism similar to those at LPIA and the Grand Bahama International Airport will fast-track the redevelopment of those Family Island airports. Without it, de Aguilar says the redevelopment of those airports will take years.
Every single Family Island airport is in some state of disrepair, with the possible exception of Marsh Harbor. And so they desperately need funds, and we have to put in place a funding mechanism to attract foreign investors, because they will come with the money that we don't have, the government. They will come with the money, and then they can be repaid for their investment in the airport. Otherwise, it'll take many, 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 many years to redevelop each of these airports.
The aviation minister added that the redevelopment of these airports would serve as an economic boost for those islands.
And certainly in Marsh Harbor, where the previous F&M government expended substantial amounts of money to redevelop that airport, that island was catapulted into the second busiest island in the country for tourism. It even eclipsed Grand Bahama. I'm not saying that the airport was the sole reason for the increase, but it helped for that island to become the second busiest tourist destination in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
De Aguilar said the plan is to redevelop Exuma's airport next. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
27 people were cited for breach of emergency orders yesterday. According to police, officers were called to an eatery location along 2nd Street and upon arrival, observed patrons inside and not adhering to protocol. As a result, the manager and the 27 patrons were cited for attending a social gathering and failing to practice social distancing. Well, Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, Leish Boyd, is calling on Bahamians to be responsible in the fight against COVID-19, adding that people's failure to adhere to restrictions has led to wider spread of the virus throughout communities.
Our fellow Bahamians and Turks and Caicos Islanders who refuse to behave themselves. That's where most of the problem comes. People mixing and socializing and partying with no mask, no social distancing. The government cannot control our personal behavior, nor legislate it. It is a matter of personal discipline and personal responsibility.
His comments came after videos of Bahamians partying and having social gatherings made the rounds on social media. Speaking to the 117th Anglican Synod, Boyd called on Bahamians to stop blaming the government, adding that the country's best weapon against the virus is everyone obeying the restrictions put in place to prevent the spread.
When you meet someone, behave as if you have the virus. And when you meet someone, treat them as if they have the virus. This may seem harsh, but it really isn't. It's the kind of sensible caution that will save lives in the short, medium, and long term.
Still to come, the Prime Minister's wife and a coalition still working to assist women during tough times. And later on, who gave us our quote of the week? Find out after the break.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Despite the hardship brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, wife of the Prime Minister, Patricia Minnis, says the Women and Girls Mentoring Coalition has continued its work in giving out packages to young women. During the pandemic, she says they have seen an increase in young women needing assistance.
We saw that some of the mentors themselves were affected, and so we had to address them first so that they could continue. We've had, I think, 3 Zoom meetings in which we were able to encourage each other and look at some of the needs.
Minutes said the need ranged from food to school supplies and even rent. She had this encouragement for women experiencing hard times.
There are a lot of institutions that are assisting. You have to try and tap into those and be persistent, because for one, there are many people accessing the same service. So don't get discouraged. Don't give up.
A pastor who is known for feeding the less fortunate is appealing to government to do more to help homeless people during the pandemic. Founder of Great Commission Ministries, Walter Hanschel, says in a time like this, more people should practice being their brother's keeper.
We're doing our best to help as many people as we could, but we have thousands of persons with no food. People still going to bed hungry. People are still being evicted out of their homes every single day, and nothing is being done.
While the majority of the population is locked down in their homes, there are some who sadly don't have a place to call home. The pandemic has only made matters worse, driving more people to homelessness. Hanschel says he has suggestions to help solve the problem.
I recommended to the government that they acquire some buildings just to help the homeless persons, people who've been made homeless, victims of homelessness, plus the hundreds that are on the street right now, living in abandoned buildings and derelict vehicles and under the bridge, on the street. We need to help the people. And I think it's time now for something to be done.
Still to come, the Elevation Awards to celebrate the best in Bahamian entertainment this week. Plus, who gave us our quote of the week? Stay tuned. Looking to honor the best in Bahamian entertainment, Elevation Awards 2020 is set to kick off for a 4-day event this week.
What we decided to do, because we're in a pandemic and because we're locked down and because, a lot of persons had so much time on their hand, what we decided to do, we decided to take it up a different notch. Initially, it would have been one night, Elevation Awards, the whole shebang, dress up, look cute, all that good stuff on the red carpet. But this year is a 4-day event. It's the Elevation Virtual Experience. It takes place from November 26th to the 29th.
The show's executive producer, Vince McDonald, says things kick off on the 26th with the I Elevate Summit, where creatives can learn a lot more about the industry.
Friday, we kick off our pre-show. The 27th, we kick off our pre-show. It's going to be amazing, hosted by your favorite girl, Faye, and PJ Frago. It's going to be an amazing time. We're going to be giving away some 10 awards, some 10+ awards that night. Live performances, DJ Fresh on the 1s and 2s. And then on Saturday night, the 28th, it's the big night. It's the 4th Annual Elevation Awards, hosted by April Donna and Kadar Clark. It's going to be an exciting night. Live performances by some of the country's top artists, Wendy, Patrice Morel, Julian Bleet, the whole list. The list goes on.
The week wraps up next Sunday with a celebration of gospel hosted by Travis. To enjoy the 4-day Elevation experience, you can do so on the Elevation Now platform. Here's how.
The Elevation Now platform is available on www.elevationnow.com, ELEV, the number 8, TION, now, NOW.com, or it's going to be streaming live on our Facebook platform, Elevation Now on Facebook. And of course, just follow the Elevation Awards. And throughout the night, be sure to use the hashtag EA2020 and EA Live in the Moment. If you are a lover of Bahamian entertainment, and if you're a Bahamian, you should tune in to support the biggest and the best in Bahamian entertainment. 4 days of just pure greatness, awesomeness. This is why you should tune in November 26th to the 29th on the Elevation Now platform. You have no excuse.
Who gave us our quote of the week? Find out after the break.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Chair. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Feel the Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
Welcome back to Our News. We've come to that part of Our News where we take a look back at some of the more memorable quotes of the week. In at number 3 is National Security Minister Marvin Dames, who said there are too many people trying to swing the system and not adhere to COVID-19 restrictions.
We're not talking about having a competition with the police to see whether you can outsmart the police or to see whether you can outsmart the system. That's not what it's about.
Number 2 comes from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who on Wednesday discouraged Bahamians from traveling to the United States amid a third wave of COVID-19 cases.
I beg and I plead with all Bahamians to stay home unless it is absolutely necessary to travel overseas. Walmarts can wait.
But our quote of the week comes from this woman who got into a bit of a scuffle with a woman police officer after police shut down a local nighttime establishment this week. She spoke with Jared Higgs.
I'm not even mad. I'm all disappointed because it could have got handled better than how it get handled. My mommy is a police, so I respect the police just because my mommy is a police, and I have more respect for them. My mommy was right behind me trying to telling her, like, this is my daughter. It's other way we can handle this. She ain't listening to my mommy, I guess, because she's in a uniform too, and she higher than my mommy, so.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. We will see you right back here tomorrow night with Christina Dragovich. Have a good Sunday evening, Bahamas.